Now we're live.
We're live.
All right.
Fine. All right.
Good evening, everyone. I am Joey Iglesia for Gamer Geeks Radio. Tonight we have Harley's Joker, and among us I have two new co-hosts, Chaz and Mike. Would everyone like to say hi?
Hi.
Everybody?
Greetings. I like to be different, so I say greetings.
Perfect, fine. What I like to point out real quick is I think the whole internet should hear this because I love my nickname that Anthony has gave me. Can you please announce it?
Oh, what isn't it like short, funny? I don't know what was the nickname for you. I don't.
Joey Iglesia.
It was something. It was something very hateful. What was it? No, I'm just kidding. No, it was Babyface Joey because he is a child compared to the other three old men here talking.
I so am, and
Yeah.
New co-hosts, Chaz and Mike. Would everyone like to say hi?
Hi. Everybody?
Hello, greetings. Konnichiwa. I like to be different, so I say greetings.
Perfect, fine. What I like to point out real quick is I think the whole internet should hear this because I love my nickname that Anthony has gave me.
Why am I overhearing this broadcast? I'm hearing it like echoing back in my head. Is someone playing it or something?
You are not the only
I don't know
one.
what was the nickname for you? I don't. It was something.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it
Okay.
was Babyface Joey.
There's a lot of feedback going on, right? I'm not crazy.
Three old men here talking.
I don't know who's.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can fix it.
And Mike. Would everyone like to say hi? Hi.
Well, hi there, YouTube viewers. What you're seeing right now is a technical difficulty we are experiencing. If this had been an actual emergency, there'd be fire and brimstone and dogs flying from the skies and shitting on everybody. Luckily, this is not the end of times. It is just a glitch in the webs of Inter. So give us a moment, and we will hopefully fix this problem.
It might as well be the end of time. I know every time I have an issue with my computer, my world ends slowly.
Is it fixed? It seems fixed. I'm not hearing any echoing.
Neither am I. We got it fixed.
What was that? None of you are like tuned into the show in another window, are you?
Oh no.
Okay.
I think it might be the NSA watching us, and they just let us know that they were watching us.
Now, is somebody... Here's a serious question, because I was told that there's a chance that people can, like, submit questions via comments on the YouTube thing. Does somebody have this open in a separate window muted so they can see comments?
I do.
Okay, good. Thank you, Babyface Joey. Thank you.
You're all welcome.
All right, I'm not leading this. I'm going to shut up now and let y'all guide.
All right.
Guide me! Otherwise,
Guys.
I'll just ramble for an hour.
Oh, and I don't think anyone would mind that. All right. You two, you guys have the floor for your questions.
Well, that fast? Jesus, way to start things up. My
No,
God, you're the laziest host ever. You should replace Jimmy Fallon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tom Hanks. Sit down, Tom. Tom, talk. Does anyone have any questions for Tom? Anyone in the audience?
Well, see, now that's where we can fit in the Bosom Buddies reference that nobody's gonna get.
Oh.
Fit it in.
Joey, listen,
Hanks,
listen,
Bosom
Joey.
Buddies.
I'm gonna hope that you are heading some panel at Comic-Con so that I can see it burst into flames.
Actually, talking about panels at MetroCon, which is the anime convention down here next Tampa. I actually
love
had to.
MetroCon. I get all my clothing at Express for Men first, then I go to MetroCon. I fit in perfectly. Different kind of Metro. Got it. Keep going.
Kind of. And I had to host the panel, and it ran smoothly because my panelists didn't decide to come to the panel. So I was like, you know what, let me take charge, and I got up there, and people loved me.
I'm so sorry. I was actually going to host a panel at, I went to a recent convention. I had a good experience at the convention for the most part. I went to Tokyo and Tulsa, that was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, everyone there who put on the convention did a beautiful job, and I was very fortunate because they invited myself and Alyssa, my Harley Quinn, as a guest. And so we got, they flew us there, and it was very sweet of them. But there were some problems with organization on the first day because they got a much bigger turnout than they were expecting. So people were still in line buying tickets and everything else, and I had a panel scheduled on, like, Friday at, like, 3 p.m. The convention opened at 5. And so, you're talking about how you had a panel that went badly. I had a panel where there was no one there. So I just was like, well, I guess there's no panel, and I just left. It was very sad. And it was going to be a panel where I was going to divulge all of my photoshoppering secrets as far as like making all those cool photo recreations and how all that's done. And now no one will ever know. And you, Joey, I will never tell you.
You would never tell me? Well, this can be your panel. This can be the spotlight.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen? Ah, that was what I thought, now wasn't it?
How long does it take to do one of those pictures?
Oh, well, you know, it's hard to say. I like to, it's all about planning. It's all about planning, and like, it's kind of like making a movie. It's all about the pre-production. That's what saves you the time and makes sure things turn out well. And so, you know, if I decide on a particular image I want to do, which isn't very often, I've done like 4 or 5 ever. If I decide I want to do one, I will then, I guess, spend maybe a month or so just kind of planning it. Getting all the pieces together for it. If I need to get anything else together, planning out the lighting, doing several test photos and test runs of the whole kind of shoot before actually doing the shoot, just to make sure, okay, can I pull this one off? How will I pull it off? What are the problems? That way when it comes time to finally deliver, I'm able to do it. And so it's maybe a couple weeks to a month or more of planning and getting things together, and then photographing it, which every time I've done one, it's been, well, a couple of them are photographed in one night. If it's just like a one simple image, one character, you know, it's an easy thing. But if there's a lot going on in the picture, then, you know, I'll shoot it for days and days and days because it requires different elements that can't all be in the same place at the same time necessarily. Because it's all done with the intention of bringing into Photoshop and compositing together, and they're all these big composites. And then, you know, spend maybe a week or so editing, and yeah. But it's a lot of hours. I mean, if I couldn't even calculate the hours that go into it. Probably a few hundred hours. Yeah. Because it's not a typical photo shoot. Like, I don't consider them cosplay photos. To me, a cosplay photo is, here's a person in a costume, here they are smiling or posing or doing some cool thing for the camera. Flash, there you go. Usually you're at a convention when these things happen or whatever else. You know, that's a cosplay photo. If I'm at a convention walking around dressed up and hamming it up for the cameras and people take pictures, that's a cosplay photo. If it's an art project that I spent like a month on and then like another week or 2 editing and digitally kind of painting, it's more than that to me. It's just a piece of fan art. It's a piece of, you know, it's a piece of art. It's different. To me, in my opinion.
Is there one you're actually working on right now, or is there one you can say you're working on right now?
No, I have a couple ideas for a couple shoots. No recreations are in mind right now. Just original things that I've done a few of before. I have a couple things in mind, and oh, thank you, sweetie. Like Hamlet's father just appearing. For anyone from the 1500s, that joke killed. Anyway, but yeah, no. Sorry for a long answer that went nowhere. The answer is no. Who lives by a train?
That's me. I literally live like not even 20 feet from a train track.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, it's the life of living on campus.
What campus is? That's amazing. Oh my God, you go to Hogwarts. That's incredible.
Yes, it's the first years coming in.
That's great. The train pulls up, and there you are. That's got to be great.
Is right across the street. But
awesome.
Actually, what I like is one of the first ones I remember you doing was the Killing Joke.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have that in hardcover. Absolutely love that.
Thank you.
That was it's one of my favorite comics from Batman, because Batman.
Yeah.
It's cliche saying that he's one of my all-time favorites, but he is. Like, yeah. I splurged and got the Blu-ray box set of the '60s television show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was one of my. I don't splurge very much, but yeah, when this comes with the letters fake signed by Adam West, you kind of have to. Killing Joke is amazing. I bought that. As a matter of fact, I bought that at Midtown Comics.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, Midtown and Forbidden Planet were my go-tos.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet's cool too.
And one thing that I like is the animated movies that DC does.
Yes.
And
Well,
they just
I loved year one. I was really impressed with how they, just the look and the feel and the music was so good too. The music was badass. You know, the whole thing was just really, really well put together.
I'm more partial to Under the Red Hood because Red Hood is actually one of my favorite members of the Bat family.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I know they just released that Mark Hamill is more than likely said they're going to do The Killing Joke as an animated movie, and Mark Hamill said he's going to come back. He said the only reason he would come back is to do the Joker as The Killing Joke. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, well no, it's true. I mean, he'd been saying that for years. They've been planning on retiring, and they always wanted him to do that, but no one ever wanted to do it. No one ever wanted to produce it, and I guess, yeah, I'm glad. I'm excited the pieces are coming together, and that he's going to get to do it. Sort of his swan song. I think it's nice. I mean, in a way, I like it. At the same time, I did love how up till that point, up till this new announcement, that his last performance as that character was for the Arkham games, where sort of it was almost like his version of the Joker had this beautiful ending. It was so perfect, and because they did, the script writers of the game and everything else, they did go darker with the character and heavier than it had been on the animated series, and it really was able, it was like a great venue for him to take his version of this character, which everyone loved so much, the way he performed this character, take it and go such a great direction with it that you couldn't go on a weekly animated cartoon show for kids. And that was really quite beautiful. But I mean, The Killing Joke does have its heavy moments, obviously, and I think it's going to be great. I think he's going to do a great job. Yeah. Well, goodbye.
Oh, no. Come back. I was just about to ask you a question.
Yes.
Me, personally, comics, and I love...
I agree. You know, I'm going to support you on this one. I think...
Babyface loves comics, I promise. But, here's the but. I don't get to reading them often because the nearest comic book store is like, what? I think different city. It's really hard. It's so far, and I don't even know where it is, and it makes me sad. But something I will keep to my heart and close is I own The Killing Joke because I heard you guys talking about it. I'm like, oh my god, I need to talk about this Killing Joke. Now, for the photo shoot, I love that part. Oh, I want to ask you a question. When you go into the character of the Joker and stuff like that, do you ever like embody any comic book, any movie, anything like that? Like,
when,
do you get a character?
well, now, when do you think, because I'm curious about this, because I get this kind of question sometimes, and I've always been puzzled by it. When do you think that I am going into the character of the Joker?
Well, I mean, like, if you ever go to a convention, let's say, and you're in cosplay, I know most people, they get into character, and...
See, that's weird to me. I never did. No, that freaks me out. I don't know. That's a weird thing. I don't want to shoot people and steal stuff at a convention. There's babies there. It's weird. It's weird to me, and that bothers me. It's a little weird to me because I'm an actor, and so like I take the idea of getting into a character very seriously. Like because I do perform, and usually stuff is very contemporary, and it's very much just kind of being yourself. But you don't often get to play broad characters, you know, as an actual working actor. It doesn't come up very often. But when it does, you know, you do try to kind of get into it and get into the mindset of the moment and all that stuff. But at a convention, no, I would never get into character because, again, if I were to do it, in my mind, I would have to really do it, and then I wouldn't function well at a convention because, again, I'd be shooting people and stealing stuff. And also, then the other alternative is doing the thing that really bothers me, and I know it's just me, and everyone does it, and people are allowed to have fun however they want to have fun. Understand, I'm not attacking anyone. I cannot walk around all day and do a really bad impression of Mark Hamill, because that annoys the piss out of me. Because every convention has at least 5 guys walking around all day doing a really horrible Mark Hamill impression. I have no desire to walk around and do a really bad impression of somebody else. It's weird. It weirds me out. I'm just not cool enough for that.
Don't worry, I know what you mean.
So basically, I mean, to kind of, I guess, not.
It's a little chaotic right now, so I'm trying to.
Oh, it's all right. Not to answer your question, I guess, because this isn't really the answer to your question, but just to sort of explain, when I'm at a convention and like I'm dressed up and
Alright,
people are taking
so
photos.
if it's my turn to go, I'm just gonna ask, as far as live action Jokers, we've gotten Cesar Romero, we've gotten Jack Nicholson, we've gotten Heath Ledger, and we're about to get Jared Leto. Now, out of the three we've seen in live action, which one do you think has done the closest interpretation?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you sure? Can Chaz, can you hear me? Because I don't think Chaz can, because I was saying something earlier and he cut me off in the middle of it.
Chaz, can you hear us?
Chaz? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, Chaz. Okay, alright. I'll answer that in a second. Can I answer the question from earlier?
Yeah,
First?
finish the
Okay, let me finish that really quick. I was just going to say...
Go ahead.
Yeah, to Joey. If I'm at a convention, right, and I am dressed up and I am walking around, I'm taking photos and making the faces and all that fun stuff that you see, I'm not in character. I'm just hamming it up for the camera. And that's the truth of it. I know how to do this. Look the eyebrows, wait for it. And now they're angry. It's that easy. And then smile and gesture and react and be big and silly, and that's what it is. It's like mime shtick. I used to do mime work. Like I'm trained as a mime. I can pull an invisible rope. And it's the same kind of thing. It's just posturing, posing, and having fun with it. Now, I am aware of how the character behaves, so I do poses that make sense. But I'm not like in character. I'm just having fun. So, Chaz. In answer to your question, let's see. Okay, I have two answers. Okay. The first answer, no, now? Are you asking me who's my favorite, or what are you asking? Or who do I think is the closest
interpretation?
Closest to the comic books?
Live action, closest.
Well, but you're saying closest interpretation, closest to ... What? Closest
to what
what?
you would read in the comic books, for example.
Oh, well then that's gonna be Jack Nicholson, and that's not me giving an opinion. That's because that version of him was based from the comic books. Was he better than Heath Ledger? I have no idea. I think they were all neck and neck in some way. Heath Ledger's version was brilliant. People love his performance. Was the character Heath Ledger played anything at all like the Joker from comic books? Not at all. There's no fucking he's a different guy who has similarities, but it's a different character. And so when people try to compare them and ask, well, which one was better, this person or that person, it's like, well, they were all different. And like Cesar Romero did a brilliant job of doing that version. The version in the stories they were telling, they were doing a very bright, colorful, campy, silly, over-the-top Batman. That was the Batman of the 60s, and that's what they were doing. And so he did that one correct. I mean, an actor's job is to play the role they're given.
Right.
And tell the story that they were told to tell through the eyes of the character that they were assigned, and however that character is written in that script. If, let's say, somebody gets cast to play Spider-Man, right?
Right.
That actor is not going to play the Spider-Man from the comic books. He's going to play the Spider-Man from the script that was in his hand. Now, if that Spider-Man from the script that was in his hand happens to be pretty goddamn like the Spider-Man in the comic books, then hey, lucky for those people who love the comics. But that's not that person's job. And that's the truth of it. An actor's job is to just try to be as honest and real in the moment as they can to whatever is on the page and whatever is in that scene, and whoever that character is, as the character is on the page. So I think every one of them did a brilliant job playing the part they were given. No one could have done the Christopher Nolan version of the Joker better than Heath Ledger. He nailed it, Jack Nicholson did a brilliant job in Tim Burton's kind of, interpretation of the comics. I mean, everyone did a brilliant job doing the job they were assigned. That's it.
All right.
Hmm?
So, any questions on YouTube? I'm curious now.
There is. I thought Mike had a question, so I was gonna let
Oh,
him
Mike.
go first.
No,
Mike.
no. Go ahead. Let
Mike,
you-
I'll be honest. You're my favorite one here.
Oh,
So,
well.
and I don't want to play favorites, but I just did.
Oh, okay. You picked right, so.
Thanks.
All
Well,
right,
you said you get money from the government, so I figure if times get really tough, I can call you and you can help me. These guys, I mean, Joey's broke. Joey's got nothing. So, you know, and Chaz, I don't know. He's got that hat. I don't know if he has more. Maybe he's building a collection of hats. But Mike, you seem like an upstanding guy who.
Yes, he believes it.
So yeah, I'm sold. You got a whiteboard behind you with notes. That means you keep track of your shit day to day. You are an organized man. Do you see what's beside me?
Only really knew.
Look at that. It's all written out. What I do each week. See?
Actually, no, that's my schedule for the semester.
Oh. It's a
So I
pretty
don't know how to go.
pretty light schedule.
It's 5 classes. It's a max schedule.
Okay. All right. Just
I
teasing.
know how that feels. If that accounts for anything. College. All right, but let's go to the YouTube.
Joey said he's in college.
Oh,
Kids say the darndest things.
I'm starting my freshman year.
Of high school?
College, but no. Okay, Union Jack the Ripper asked, "What
Oh
inspired?"
my god. Sorry. Continue. A man who doesn't have that screen. I won't make fun. Go on. Yes.
He asked you, "What inspired you to be an actor, and what would your dream role be if it was offered?"
Oh, what inspired me to act? I have a story. Do you want to hear a story?
I do.
All right. In junior high, when I was a wee lad, I was in choir. Now, I shouldn't sing in public, but I didn't know at the time. And so I was in choir. I didn't have any friends in junior high. I was picked on and made fun of by every single kid in the entire school. I literally had no friends and was just tormented daily. It was a very dark and sad time for me. And then what happened is at the end of the year, the choir had an assembly, and it was in front of the entire school. Now, the school was relatively new. It had only been built maybe 5 years ago, so it still had a decent budget. It had a lot of leftover kind of government funding and state funding and all that fun stuff. And so they spent money on their assemblies. They put on a good production. The choir performed the song "A Whole New World" from Aladdin. And what they did was, on the stage of the auditorium, in front of the choir, they lowered a movie screen down, a projector screen, and they projected the scene from Aladdin before that song starts. The balcony scene. Aladdin's there with Jasmine and Raja, whatever, and they're talking, and then they get on the carpet, they fly off, and they sing. And what they did is they muted the film, and they had the boy who could sing. They had the boy who did Aladdin's opening solo of the choir arrangement of this song. They had him dub live Aladdin's lines, like with a microphone, to the scene. So like they kind of did the scene before. That way, when their voices started singing, it sounded like the same characters who were talking. Well, he did it. It didn't match the mouth movements at all. The inflection wasn't there. He wasn't an actor. There was no emotion. It was just kind of flat, and it didn't match the mouth at all, and no one really thought anything of it. Audience was silent. The girl who played Jasmine, who did Jasmine's opening solo for the choir, she did Jasmine's lines in that scene. Same thing, kind of flat, didn't really match the mouth, no real emotion, whatever. Well, there's one other character in that scene, which is the genie as a little bee flying around Aladdin's head, and telling him, remember, be yourself, and this whole enough about you, Casanova, talk about her, she's smart, fun, the hair, that whole bit, right? Robin Williams. And they needed somebody to do that, so I was like, and so like for a week I was practicing this at home. I was watching that scene from Aladdin over and over on my VCR at home, and VCR, and I was ready, man. And so when that came, I was there at the microphone, you know, and I did it. And, you know, had the inflection dead on, matched the mouth movements dead on, and the entire school, who didn't know it was me behind the curtain, they had no idea, they all hated me, they all burst into laughter and applause. And it was a sound I had never heard before. And it's the most amazing sound I had ever heard in my life. And that was it. I was hooked, man. That just like, it got me, it reeled me in. I was like, all right, I have to be an actor. And that was it. From then on, like, I immediately joined drama afterwards, and in school, and theater and all that stuff, and did every show in high school that there was. Did a bunch of theater at my college, and then while I was going to college, I started doing theater outside of my college in community theaters, regional theaters, and then just kept doing it, kept expanding and branching out. So yeah.
So, actor, I mean, community, high school, college, all that stuff. So I would say you've been well-rounded in like roles, like Shakespeare, all that.
Yeah. I've done a lot of stuff. Done a lot. Well, I did about my camera keeps slipping. I did about maybe 40 stage productions as an adult in San Diego, like after because I got out of high school in 03, so from 03 to 08, I did like 30 to 40 shows. I worked really steadily. Didn't pay the bills doing it because like community theater and theater outside of a big city like New York or something, it doesn't pay. There's no money in it, you know. I just did it. And then the economy slowed down in 08. I ended up taking kind of a break from acting for a little while, not by choice, just because the economy tanked. Work that I was doing beforehand to supplement my income while I was acting went away, and I needed a more jobby job. And I got a crappy jobby job I hated, doing like retail management, and I got sucked into that, and it lasted like 4 years, and I was just drained of life. I aged at Mach speed. It was awful. I went from being 24 and looking 20 to being, 27 or 28 and looking 32, and sounding even older. It just killed me. So in 2012, I left. No, not 2012. 2013. I left that job, moved to New York, and started paying my bills acting. And so the last 2 years, I've been very happy because I'm doing what I like. So.
Well,
but no
good.
more theater now. I'm doing TV and film stuff because that's my big passion. That's what I always really loved. I just, yeah.
All right, since you're into TV and film, do you have any roles you want to play? That's Union Jack's second part of his question. He wants to know do you have any like special roles or like a dream role you just want to play?
Yeah. Well, first of all, any character named Jack. Jack is the quintessential male hero name. So I've got to play a couple characters named Jack before I die, because every third film that's an action movie or a drama, the main guy's name is Jack. You root for Jack. So I got to play. I haven't played anybody named Jack yet. And I've never played anyone who died. I've killed people a lot for some reason. I play people who kill people. Again, I think it's the eyebrows. I think that's what does it. Is I got the evil eyebrows, and so they're like, oh, you can kill somebody. I mean, every actor wants to play Hamlet at some point. God, I'd love to play Hamlet. Don't think I ever will. I'd love to. Always want to play Mercutio. Getting a little too old to play Mercutio. I almost played him. I recently auditioned for a production of Romeo and Juliet that was going to be in Brooklyn. It was going to be this really cool kind of like modern times kind of version of it, but it was going to be done like on the streets of Brooklyn. And I was really close. And I remember I'd gotten through auditions and I'd gotten through callbacks, and I was really close to getting the part. And I was feeling really good about it. And then they had another kind of part of the audition, which was like the fencing audition thing, where they had a fight choreographer teach you some fencing stuff. Just the whole 5 guys who were like being narrowed down. Teach it to you, you practice it, you do it. And I just didn't pick that up as fast as the other guys, and I instantly knew. I was like, shit, I didn't get it. God damn. Oh well. So those parts. And then, okay, random. Neil Simon. There's this Neil Simon play called Laughter on the 23rd Floor, and it's a great play. And there's a character, Max. I don't remember his last name, but his name is Max. And I'm too young to play it. I have to be like 45. So, you know, in a couple decades, I'll play the character. But one day, I will have to play Max on Lap from the 23rd Floor. It'd be great. That's it.
Well,
make a film version of it, yeah.
Whatever's that answer. Okay. So now we're just going to pause for a minute, and, well, we're going to give shout-outs, and afterwards, you can give your shout-outs to... You seem so happy about it.
I paused for a minute. You asked me to pause for a minute.
Okay, and then afterwards, you can give your shout-outs, of course, to anyone and everyone you want. And you can also do your plug-in that, I am sorry, I promised you at the beginning of the show, went over my head, so you're getting it now, and because it's pretty important, because everyone loves you. You just have scissors in your hand?
No! No! Yes, but I wasn't running. I was sitting. No one ever tells you not to sit with scissors. In fact, by saying don't run with scissors, it sort of says, okay, so you should probably sit with them.
Wow, that's a loophole.
I'm just doing what Mom told me to do backwards. I'm all about Mom subtext.
You're not wrong.
What did Mom really mean here? She meant sit with scissors.
She just meant sure that you don't hurt yourself. She never said don't hurt anybody else.
That's true. That's true, buddy.
See, I'm not that much of a baby face. Anyways. All right, so we give shout-outs to Lady Venom's Lair, Promenade, Intergalactic Geek Alliance, Marvel vs. DC, Clash of Two Worlds, Superhero Movies, Cosplay, Anime, and Gaming, Gamer Geek United, Xbox 360 Balls Player, forgive me if I mispronounced that wrong, I love you guys, and The Rabbit Hole. And I just want to thank you all for sharing our show and keeping our show growing. It's really amazing that you guys will do that for us, and I appreciate every single ounce of it.
I like to think that just because all those names are just objects and things that do exist, and so I like to think that you were actually just giving a shout-out to, like, I'd like to give a shout-out to comics, computers are awesome, cameras, speakers, microphones. I'd like to give a shout-out to coffee mugs. Great. Got a mice, trackballs. Shout out to trackballs.
Shout out to pens. Where would we be without them?
Where would we be without them? I'd like to give a shout out to the wheel and sliced bread.
And clothes for keeping our bags warm.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Galileo. Shout out. Abraham Lincoln, thanks, my brother.
Do they still hear us?
That's funny.
It is. Would you like to give any shout-outs, Anthony? This is your time to shine, or to make other people shine in this case.
Shout-outs. All right. I'd like to give a shout-out to my girlfriend, my partner in crime, Alyssa King, who's actually sleeping or laying down on the couch that's just outside of this door crack. They can't hear you, honey. It's a little microphone by my mouth. They can't. They can't see you either, so you can put that finger down. I'd like to give a shout-out to her. She's my princess, my angel. She's an angry little fuck. And she's great. Hi, I love you. Mwah. She's the best. And hey, you can check out her brilliant work at facebook.com/JokersHarleyCosplay. Not only does she cosplay as Harley Quinn, she's also a very talented artist herself as well. And she will very frequently upload like some of her artwork or drawings and sketches and designs and things like that. And so shout out to her. And then I guess a shout out to my desk lamp. Thanks, man. You are the light in my office. And you make my evenings brighter. You make my office lighter.
That is so
Lamp,
sweet.
I love you.
All right. And where can we find you on the
well, first we can find Lamp right over here. He's kind of a bright guy, so it's hard to really get a read on him. But that's him. I like that pun. No one else does. And you can find me at you know what? Really, I don't think I'm going to say where you could find me, because if the people are tuned in, there's a lot of them who probably came here because they started out by finding me.
It's true.
Okay, so I think I'm back on.
Yay! He didn't hear any of the shit we said about him. Yes.
No, I can hear you guys. You just can't hear me.
Well, Chaz, show us the way. Guide us. You started. You're like, I'm back, and...
I just... So much feedback on my end, sorry. Wherever I was going with that, I'm just... I'm hearing it again, so it's making me laugh.
You know, is it like an echo? It's like a whistle.
I'm not selling an show. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to the Citadel because I'm pretty sure some of them are tuned in right now. And easing into my next question here, moving away from the whole Joker and cosplay stuff, I just want to know, as far as the gaming spectrum, I know you mentioned Arkham earlier, and I just want to know, are there any other franchises you're into outside of, you know, Batman? Like, personally, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, so...
Yeah, well, first, I want to give a shout-out also to Sumeria and Babylonia and Mesopotamia. We couldn't be here without you guys. First 3 civilizations. Thank you guys very much for that. I'm sorry. I'm going to do this every, like, 10 minutes. I'm going to think of some other thing to give a shout-out to that hasn't gotten its credit in a long time. I mean, who last gave a shout-out to Sumeria? Come on! They gave us so much. They gave us guys with just great curly beards, and they gave us purple. We didn't have purple before them. We had blue and we had red, and they're like, let's mix this shit. Sumeria. Also, very often people don't realize this because cartoons made us think that Flintstones, that cavemen invented the wheel, but actually the wheel dates back to ancient Sumeria. They created the wheel. They're the first ones to go, let's take this round thing, put a pivoting point in the middle, and it makes all of our daily functions easier. And everything you have around you is based off of that same principle of a rotating thing. All right. Games. You're not gonna like my answer. Are you ready?
Am I not?
I'm not a gamer.
You're not a gamer.
I've never even played the Arkham games. I've watched people play. Great graphics, nice story. I love Uno. I love Monopoly. I love Clue.
Those are still games.
I'm a big fan of Rummy. Rummy's good. Windows Solitaire, always a standby. I do love Pac-Man. The original Pac-Man arcade version. I like Miss Pac-Man, but it's just Pac-Man and drag. And I like the original Tetris and the original Mario, and that's it. But I don't play them with any regularity. I'm not a gamer. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We all have our little geekdom and fandoms we go to. Some people have movies. Some people have games. Some people have books. Perfectly fine. We all love something.
Joey, you're such a sweet guy. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you. I try my best. I really do. All right, we're going to go to YouTube comments real quick because we still have some more. I love this guy. Let me just tell you, I love you, Mininator. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. That's how I'm pronouncing it. He is so, into it. Let's go from his bottom because I feel like I should have said him out because he was the first one that commented. First comment. I missed the panel at TNT. He frowned at that, so I think he wants to personally apologize for missing that. He wants to go to Hogwarts because he loves trains, obviously. They already asked the question I asked, minus the pie question. Everybody's crazy, don't worry, and I think he wants to know your favorite pie.
Well, I would have to say chocolate mousse.
Chocolate mousse.
Yes. Or cheesecake, which is kind of a pie. Because it's not really a cake. It's not fluffy.
Somewhere in between.
It's a hybrid. Cherry pie. I do love cherry pie. I'm going to say cherry pie or any kind of cream pie is good, like chocolate.
I think cheesecake counts as a pie, personally. Like,
Thank you.
I'm
It's in
a
a pie pan. It has a crust. That's not a cake.
And like I am a cake person and not that much of a pie person, don't kill me. But I just don't consider my cheesecakes cakes.
No, I know exactly how you feel. I'm in the same boat.
Alright. We got a couple more. Oh, Union Jack the Ripper has now caught up with us. Well, not caught up with us, he touched base with us again, I guess to say. He wants to tell you it's because
Jack the Ripper touched us. Got it. Go on.
he is beginning to be an actor, and he just left college, and he just wants to know. And the name is for he wants to tell you that his name on YouTube is for Omegle Trolling.
All right.
So he just wants to tell you that he wants to be an actor. Now, Daisy Pester, Daisy Pester, I love you. Don't hurt me. When are you and Alyssa going to get married?
No, I don't know. Okay, go on.
All right. Hello, Anthony. Greetings from Russia. What happened to the real butter?
Ah, Real Butter. That was a great show. Now, are any of you guys here familiar with that show? All right, there's this show I did, this YouTube series with a very good friend of mine, Ryan Cerruti, called Real Butter, R-E-E-L, like a movie reel, Real Butter. And it was just like a short, like 5-minute episode kind of thing. We did, I think, altogether 18 episodes, maybe 19, and over the course of about a year or so, and it was very fun. And we did it was movie reviews, but it was a 1-minute movie review. And their other 4 minutes were really just like sketches and jokes and weird bits and things that we wrote, and then I did all the editing and all that fun stuff and animation and stuff. There was like animation in it and stuff. It was a weird show. It was just too much work and took up too much time to be able to logistically keep doing it, and that was the truth of it. Also, it was very hard for us to try to chisel out the time for it because it was something where when you do a web series, I think, of any kind, and start creating original content for YouTube and create like a channel and all that fun stuff, you sort of hope that the more you do it, the longer you do it, you start to build an audience. And from episode 1 to episode 19, our viewership went from here and just kept declining. We had fewer viewers each episode, and it just kept going down. So it was a pretty good sign that this isn't catching on. In fact, people are trying to wash themselves clean of it because they think they might have caught something. So it's just never gonna come back. It had its run. It was a lot of fun, and for those who discover it and like it, I'm really happy you guys like it. But it is over. We haven't done one in over a year. Not gonna come back. Sorry.
It makes me sad, and I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, but now you got to check it out. It is very funny. It's very silly and very funny.
I definitely will. Right after this.
And really, because they're only like 5 minutes long each, you could just like pound through all of them.
Love to watch. All right.
Okay. If it doesn't, I just want to let you know if it does make Harley feel any better. I did see the finger, so.
Good.
So just want to make sure I did see it. So.
Good. I'm glad. She knows her efforts are appreciated. Hello.
But I noticed that
He saw your finger. He said he saw your finger. All right. Yes.
Okay. I saw that there was a Kickstarter for a movie that you were a part of. That it was I believe it's called The Restaurant.
Oh yeah. That's shooting in October.
Okay. Is there anything you can tell us about, like what role you play or what the movie's
Sure.
about?
Of course. It's this really great film I got attached to. I didn't write it or anything. I'm just an actor working. I just got cast in it. But I'm really excited about it. It's a feature film. It is of the horror comedy genre. And so you think of any great horror comedies, imagine it like that. It's very quirky, and I really like it. How should I say what it's about? I guess it's about a restaurant manager who owns and operates this restaurant in New York. And there's a demon living in the basement of this restaurant. And he feeds guests to this demon in exchange for good reviews and popularity. And, of course, the demon uses his powers to make sure that people come there and just always like, oh, the food is amazing, even though the food's probably kind of crappy. And there's 1,000 Italian restaurants in each borough of New York. Everyone's going to be like, oh, it's the best, because, the demon's powers are making people believe this. And that's sort of the deal they have worked out. Until one of the people working at the restaurant, one of the staff, Jeremy, played by myself, discovers this, finds this, sees this, of course, freaks the hell out. And then, hilarity and adventure and terror ensue over the course of this adventure. And if I'm lucky, I might come out kind of a hero in the end. I don't know. Things are looking a little grim. I don't know. I got to read the script again. But yeah, we're shooting it in October, and I don't know when it's supposed to be. I mean, I have no knowledge of what their timeline is for editing it and everything else. And then, of course, I know after it's edited, he plans to try to submit it to a bunch of festivals and whatnot. And if it becomes really popular at film festivals, there might be some chance of some sort of distribution, some sort of independent, low-budget distribution. But that's a year or more from now. I have no idea. But it's exciting. It's a good project. I'm glad to be aboard.
I know we talked about we touched on this a little bit, like our little pregame pep rally we had before the show started.
Yeah, you touched me. I remember that.
Yeah, I know. It was smooth skin. I'm glad you moisturized.
No, it's good. It was very nice. Thank you for that.
Thank you for doing that beforehand. I appreciate that. It made it feel better.
Wonderful. It was wonderful.
But like you said, you've been living in New York for the past couple of years. And I actually lived in New York for 3 years. I left in 2013. And one of the things we were talking about is...
I guess I took your apartment. That's really funny.
You know what? Now that you mention it, it does look familiar.
What month did you leave?
May.
Oh, I came in October, so
so somebody had already taken it by then.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember, especially since it's really hard to drive, even though you see cars everywhere, nobody drives. One of the things that we would take everywhere was the subway, because one, the buses are disgusting, and two, I was too poor to take the yellow cabs. And I remember and I'm sure you noticed this, that whether it's the station or actually in the car is some of the weirdest or the craziest things you see in the subways, or just the random people you ran into. Like I had mentioned before the show, that inadvertently didn't even realize it until I got off that I was sitting right next to Tony Danza the whole time. And I didn't even realize it. This was at night. I was on my way to work. I had headphones in. I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of cool or quirky or weird stories from right in the rails?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of obviously in New York. There's a lot of like run-ins with famous people just because they live here. And unlike LA, it's not spread out. It's a very dense area, so you just see people all the time, like on the street. Like you're just like, oh, there's that person. Oh, hey, look, there's that person from that thing. Like you just do. And I think that also might be why a lot of like celebrities like New York is because people are so used to it, and everyone's so busy with their own stuff that they don't really get bothered. Like if you see, like Louis C.K. on the sidewalk, you just walk the fuck on by. You don't bother him. Like no one does. You just go, oh hey, that's cool. Look at that. And you just walk. Whereas if he was in L.A. or something, tons of people would stop, ask for photos, take pictures, whatever else. If he goes into a store. But in New York, no one really cares because you're just so used to it. So I don't know. I mean, I bought Holly Hunter a bottle of water once at a subway platform because she didn't have any cash, and I had some cash, and I was like, oh, I got it. And that was kind of cool because I was like, I know who you are. I didn't say I know who you are because that'd be really freaking creepy and terrible. But she was very sweet. I don't know. I passed John Turturro. He was going for a jog in Brooklyn, and I actually, because I love his work. He's the one person who I was like, I got to tell you, I just love everything you've done from the early Coen Brothers stuff to now. And I just think as a character actor, myself, you are an inspiration. And he was very sweet of him because it was like 7 a.m. or something, or 6 a.m. He was just going out for his morning jog, and I knew he was like, I'm not ready for this onslaught of shit from random folk right now. But he was very sweet and smiled and was very polite and said thank you and shook my hand. That was cool. And Matthew Broderick is very often around Bryant Park, so if you just hang out there, you'll see him. I don't know, but I mean, it's just like you see people. As far as crazy stories, though, they happen. You see so many crazy people on the subways that eventually you don't. It's just a blur because it's just part of it. But I will tell you, my first few months, when it was all new to me, I was blown away regularly by how in every movie you see, a comedy you see, where there's a scene on a subway in New York, there's some crazy person doing some just ridiculous, weird, shocking thing, and you think, like, oh, this is such a funny movie. It's completely real. It's completely real. Just weird, crazy, inappropriate, in public shit happens. You see at least once a day. And you're not even fazed by it after a while. And it's so surreal. Your first month or two, if you move here, your first couple months are just going to be like, just freaking you out. But I'm used to it now. I'm numb. I'm numb to the pain now.
I can touch on that real quick. Can you imagine, again, I'm young, but can you imagine being 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old on a train in New York and not understanding what is going on? My mind, I'm more than sure, is tainted as much as it's tainted. It's because of those subways on New York.
Yeah.
I'm more than sure.
It's a dark and mysterious place, those tubes at night.
Indeed they are. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question, obviously.
Oh, nice.
Forgive me, I tend to do that. Anyways, so I inspire and want to be, when I'm older, a movie film director because, honestly, I love movies and they're like my passion. Love making them, love watching them, love reading the reviews. I never go into a film without reading the reviews. It's kind of a weird habit of mine. But I want to know the average time, for a feature-length film, what is the average time it would take just for shooting? Like, when the actors are involved and completely shooting with the camera in front of their face, what is the average time for a feature-length film?
My answer is only going to be based on knowledge that I've acquired by watching DVD featurettes and reading articles online in the same way that you would answer it. So I'm not qualified to answer this. Depending on the project, things shoot for anywhere between 15 days to, a year. I mean, it just depends on the scale and scope of the project and the budget and everything else involved. But I'm not speaking from personal experience. I'm speaking from just gathered knowledge from reading and watching.
From personal experience, what has been your longest? I know you've probably been on, I've watched behind the scenes for Guardians of the Galaxy, and Batista, he had to hold his arms up like this for God knows how many hours.
Yeah.
That must be tedious. So what's your longest time shooting?
I haven't done a lot of. I've only shot one feature. I haven't done a lot of feature-length stuff. I mean, I'm a nobody. I'm not anyone who anybody's heard of or seen in anything. I'll pop up in a random local regional commercial or something once or twice a year. I'm not, I'm on the bottom rung of this ladder that I have to climb for the next 30 years before somebody goes, "Were you on that show?" And I'll go, "Yeah, that was me." I'm on the first step. Talk to me in 3 decades, and I might go "Oh yeah, I did this one film with this guy." Right now I got nothing. I don't know. As far as longest shoot, I did this TV show for Nat Geo called American Genius. I played Nikola Tesla. That was pretty exciting, and I was shooting that for about 3 weeks. I was out there. I mean, I wasn't used every day. A lot of those days were what's called hold days, where basically you're there on location because it's cheaper than flying you back home and back out again when they next need you, so you're just kind of waiting in a fucking hotel room for a day or two. But just getting fat, just being bored and just munching on shit because you don't know what to do with yourself. And I was in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't like I was in a town. I'd be like, I'm gonna go for a walk through this city. I was in rural Virginia shooting this. So there's nothing around me. That was 3 weeks. I don't know. The feature, I just shot a feature, my first feature I just shot. in June. We shot that for, like, I was shooting that for about 2 weeks. They were shooting, I think, altogether for maybe 3.5. I was on set for about 2 weeks of that time. Yeah. It's a really boring answer, and I'm sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine. Like,
You're like,
when
oh, what a very practical answer. I
Was
got nothing exciting to say.
Was it dogs flying from the sky? I was so hoping for that.
Yes, that was happening. It was exhilarating.
But for like,
I'm not wearing pants. Anyway,
Oh,
I just
me
thought
neither.
I'd share that.
Awesome.
I'm wearing shorts.
Mike actually asked me that. He was like, "Do I need to wear pants?" I'm like, "Not if you don't show your bottom half."
Good. Exactly.
Should I? Oh, no.
No.
And there's one thing you should know: as a lady, never show your bottom half.
And I was personally just wondering because I've done 0 like actual films. I've done some like short little videos for school and stuff like that, but short films and feature-length films that I would love to do sooner or later, I have not personally done.
Yeah.
But I have directed shows and plays, and actually,
That's great.
I said this on the last show, and because it just has to deal with you, well, not you personally, but like it connects to you, and you'll understand why.
Yeah.
I wrote fan fiction, not nasty fan fiction, just in case you were wondering, but actual fan fiction of the Joker, and like it made sense. Trust me, it wasn't just that side of fan fiction.
I'm with you. I'm here. Keep going. I'm not judging you. I'm open to where this is gonna go. I told you I'm not wearing pants. Keep telling the story, man.
And it was actually like I pitched it to our theater manager, like our theater producer, which was my theater teacher. I was like, "Do you think this can be a play?" And she was like, "You know what? Yeah, this can be a play." So I've got my own writing of the Joker, like play I had, and on my school, produced it, my school built it, my school acted in it, and like I got to see my little nerdy like self be so happy, especially when people started applauding. Like when you
Isn't that cool?
Yes, it's so fantastic.
And it's very. Is it surreal seeing like something you wrote and then there's people saying the shit you wrote? Is that strange? Because I wrote a couple short films, and that was a weird thing for me. Was like seeing actors saying these things that were just something I just wrote on paper or typed out. I was like, I just typed this, and now you're saying it, and you mean it, and I just wrote it down. It's like if you took a pen and was like, tomato and basil with pasta and oregano, and then a week later somebody's like going, tomato and basil with pasta and oregano, and they mean it. It's like I could write anything I want, and they'll just say it. And it was very funny and amusing for me. I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah,
Was it like that?
That actually happened with me for, I'm in the theater program, but I actually also took a theater class because it's arts requirement for the school.
Mm-hmm.
And our final exam was we had to come up with a skit and act it in front of the entire class.
Oh, okay.
And I decided, you know what, I really like the theater professor because she's the theater director and she does all the. She basically is a one-woman theater department. Like the theater thing is her office. All the costumes and props are in her office. And I was like, I really wanted to do something different because I've always wanted to act. That's my bucket list, is to be in some sort of movie, hopefully like a low-budget horror movie because that's my go-to movies. Like Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard. I love that movie. Mm-hmm. But we had to do a skit. I was like, I worked the whole semester to get her to let me act and direct the skit. And she's like, I really, some people wrote scripts, and I wanted to do more. What she did was, it was kind of half improv. I had the skeleton of the idea of the scene, and then we just improv it every time. We figured out what was good, what was bad, and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I actually got up there. We actually got up there, performed it, where it was it was just a small skit because it was like we called it One Night at the Viaduct because the Viaduct's a local bar here in town where my buddy was trying to do I don't know if you remember that show on VH1, The Pickup Artist.
I think, yeah.
It was something like this where he's like, hey, I need you to go say this to this girl, go say this to this girl. And I did, and we did the whole thing, and I got to do, some physical comedy. I let a guy put a steel chair across my back and all this stuff. And when I actually had people actually gasp and actually laugh at it, I mean, I couldn't react because I'm on stage while this is happening. But when I actually hear people, legit laughing because what I came up with was funny, it felt good.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
I was like, they think I'm funny? Really?
Yeah. Like, they like this?
Yeah, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't win the competition, but it was the fact that like there was jokes where like I had the girls slap me in the face and all this stuff, and I'm doing these actual funny jokes, and people are like, "This is funny," and I'm like, "Really?"
It's good.
God, Mike, you just reminded me of my thespian competition in high school where like our play was the only funny. It was funny because last year our play was the only dramatic one. This year our play was the only funny one. Like we're not getting the memo of what we're supposed to be doing or something like that. So when like I saw the audience laughing because I had to act it in my. I really don't like being in front of people like that, but I was like, why not? You know, I have to build confidence somehow.
Yeah.
So I became an actor in the zombie play, and people were laughing after stuff I was saying, and it's fantastic. And after that play, I took on improv at my school, and like I had me and my friend were like really naturally good at it, and like sometimes I can't even control my own laughter on stage, and it's really hard. That's the part I'm practicing on, holding in my own laughter at what like my friends say, because it's really difficult.
That's a hard thing. That is one of the hardest things, is honestly keeping a straight face through something that is genuinely funny, especially if it's improvised, and so you don't know what's coming, and things just come, and you're like, you know, yeah, that's tough, but it's fun. It's always good how you say how, like, you know, last year you did one, it was, you know, the only drama amongst comedies, and this year it was the only comedy amongst dramas. But that's got to be great, because, I mean, that's anything you can do to set yourself apart from the crowd is always going to be good in that kind of field, because then people remember it. You know, people, it sticks in their mind. I did a short film for a short film festival a few years ago, and mine was the only musical. Well, because no one would. It was very out of the box. I was like, I'm gonna do a musical, and I wrote and directed this musical, this like 7-minute, very quick paced kind of like rock opera that took place in a diner in California, and but everyone loved it and remembered it just because it was no one. Who would ever, for a short film contest, be like, I'm going to make a musical? That's ridiculous. But I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. And yeah, it paid off. So, yeah, that's just chiming in.
Was that just a spur-of-the-moment thing, or were you inspired by something to do that?
To do the musical or to do the contest?
No, to do the musical.
To do it as a musical? Well, I mean, there was the announcement of the. It was for an online film festival, and I had done something for them before, and submitted it, and it came in like 9th place in their kind of rankings of the most popular ones or top voted ones or whatever, and that kind of inspired me because it was like out of like 100. I was like, well, I got 9. See if I can do better than that, and that was really it, and I just, you know, the next one was announced, and kind of there were some parameters to follow to that festival. That way it's not just complete hodgepodge of nothing. People have something to kind of grade it on. You know, there is like, what is the theme of this festival, or what is the whatever. And I just had the idea of, I don't know why, I think I just did it as a musical. I mean, I've been writing songs, you know, for years and years, and I write music and stuff like that just for fun. It's nothing I ever want to plan to do anything with, but I've always done that just for my own amusement, and I just thought, like, oh, I'll apply this love and ability and see if I can do it. And so that was, you know, that was probably the most entertaining auditions I've ever held in my life, was having actors come in and sing songs for me. Because I'm so used to being the actor and being on the other side of the table, so the couple times in my life I've ever directed or produced something and been on the other side of the table, it's so funny and entertaining for me to sit there at a desk basically as actors on a schedule, come in one after another, and just come in and basically just fucking entertain you for like, all right, you have 3 minutes to entertain me. Go ahead. And they're done. Thank you very much. And then they leave, and you make your little notes, and you talk with your little people who are working on the project with you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's send to the next one now. Now that we're ready, let's send to the next one. Next! And it's just such a funny thing. And I remember sitting there just thinking, like, this is a job? This is the greatest job in the world. I sit here and really talented actors come in and just try to impress me. Why? I'm a loser reactor as well. I just happened to write something once, and now you're all like, oh, he wrote something. Let's go try to entertain him. It's so funny. Like there's no deserving of that attention at all. Of that, no, I don't deserve to have people come and perform for me. So it's a very fun experience to direct something and hold auditions. If I could make a living just holding auditions every day, I would do. I guess I should be a casting director. That's what they do. They sit back, people audition for them all day, and they just go, none of you were right for this thing. We'll start again tomorrow. It's got to be a fun job.
All right. I was not paying attention to the clock. We are a little bit over time.
No.
We all love each other.
Wait, so I get paid more now?
Only if I get paid more now.
Oh wait, this is free. Got it. Okay.
You get more extra free.
Nice. It's like those bags of chips. Now 25% more free. It was free before, but now it's 25% more free.
Exactly.
That's how I always read it as a kid, and it always freaked me out.
It's 125% free.
Because there's never a comma on any package. There's never a 25% more, comma, free. There's never a comma. It's always just, it's more free. I didn't know something could be more free, so you buy it and they give you money. I'd like to get this potato chips. Oh, 68 cents. Thank you very much.
I wish life ran like
that. That's my joke. You can't steal that. I'm keeping that one.
Let me erase that.
Actually, before we leave, would you like a few jokes? I write jokes.
Go ahead. I love me.
All right. Here we go. I just write them on my phone. I keep track of them. They're not all good. I'm not going to share all of them with you, but I'll see if I can share a couple good ones. Let's see. I'll just give you like the one-liners. I won't give you like just the long like stand-up type rants. I'll just give you the one-liners. Okay, this is a New York kind of one. So Mike might get it. I don't know. Last night I went out to dinner at Tavern on the Brown. Not as nice. Thank you. Because there's a famous restaurant. There's a famous restaurant in Central Park called Tavern on the Green. So there you go. Thank you. All right. I studied abroad for a year, and then she left, so I studied another abroad. Like that.
Yeah, I'm stealing that one.
Pedophilia is a real touchy subject.
Oh. Wow.
Let's see.
I guess there's the line.
I went to see a psychic medium because they were out of smalls and larges. She liked her coffee like she liked her men. Weak. By the way, no one out there steal these like for your stand-up set. Be like, oh, these are great. These are mine. I wrote these. I'm giving you basically my stand-up set if I ever do stand-up.
Right now, he's copyrighting them, guys. You're not allowed to, obviously.
Exactly. I saw this teddy bear the other day. It was the cutest teddy bear. It had this soft brown fur and these little black eyes. And who doesn't love little black eyes? Frankie Lyman, Prince, Kevin Hart.
And we were just talking about stand-up comedians.
Let's see. Some people say I have a messianic... Oh. I'll save my favorite one. Ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say I have a messianic complex. I forgive them. All right, I'll cut it off there. That's all you get.
That was fantastic. All right. On that note, I would like to tell you it's been a pleasure having you on my show. I know you obviously what I told you before the show. You should know that I just loved having you here. My little fan heart was like, yay!
Thank you, sir. I'm very happy to be here. Oh, hey, here's a cool thing. Since you are a fan, I forgot that. Because sometimes people invite me on like podcasts and they're like, oh, who's this dude? I don't know. He's got a popular page. All right, invite him on. But you are a fan and you like some of my stuff. Let me show you because I have a couple things literally right around me. This is the pipe from the trophies poster.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? Don't overdo it. Don't say wow. All right.
Hey, I take that back.
This was the Penguin cigarette holder. Ah. Nice.
Yeah.
I like
Wow.
finding antique things for these kind
He's
of
saying
things.
wow again.
I know he is. It's all right. Hey, and this helicopter now, if you remember that image with Harley Quinn firing the guns as she's falling back, this model helicopter was all three of the helicopters you saw flying through the air. They were all. It was all like put on a stand, and then it was lit appropriately and shot against the background and used and composited into the image. But this one model helicopter was used for all of the Gotham City helicopters in that big photo.
That was a real wow, I promise.
I believe you. All right, I'm glad that we ended it on that note and not earlier when it was funny, because I like things to end on. I like things to end on a note of. What? And I think we've done that. I think we've successfully done that. So I'm going to close this now. Goodbye.
All right.
Have a good night, Anthony.
Good night.
Bye. All right.
Hey, real quick, before we log off, I just got to know, when you were talking about the subway,
Wait.
and you said imagining when you're 6, 7, and 8, were you like all 3 ages simultaneously?
On that note, before I further embarrass myself, I would like to wish you all a good night, and I'd like to thank my 2 new hosts for joining me on.
You're welcome.
Have a good night, Joey.
This is Joey from Gamer Geeks Radio signing off. Have a good night.